starting to get some clear water between them and Collingwood College.
And these are development coxed fours, so not the most experienced oarswomen out on the course today, but they will certainly put the miles in training. And what we're looking to see now is these crews that get a lead, see if they can have that sense in the moment to just back off and start managing the race if they need to, if they can. And equally those crews that are down, not letting their heads drop, keeping on the rate, on the power, keeping in touch.
Yeah, they're just coming past the commentary tower now. We can see the cox from Durham University calling for some strength in the boat, a little bit of a push. You can probably hear some of the supporters there going past as well. Collingwood still looking strong. They're keeping a very steady stroke rate there, rowing their own race. Let's see if they can put a bit of a push on there and try and catch Durham University Boat Club. They're not out of it yet. There's a good boat length and a bit between them.
That's it. Durham really grabbing this race by the scruff of the neck, frankly. They've stroke seat and 3 seat backing her up there. I really getting aggressive on that rhythm and the rate, and they've moved out to just a little bit more clear water there, probably opening up to around about half to 2/3 of a length as they're coming into the enclosures. Again, great to see from this shot. You can really see that distance opening up now. We'll start to see whether Collingwood are going to react, whether they're going to start to put the rate up and get back into this race, and whether Durham University decide that it's game over and start to manage it. But at the moment, they are still well and truly racing to get there first.
Yeah, it's interesting to look at the different styles here. You can see the strokeswoman there in the Durham University boat keeps her head down. We've got different head heights there. The favoured way is head up, looking straight ahead, eyes in the boat, of course, but you know, whatever works. They're leading the race at the moment, so absolutely. Good luck to them.
Doing the job, seems to be working.
Maybe it helps to concentrate.
It must do.
Could do.
That's it. Collingwood College looking tidy, looking neat and together. They probably just need to take a slight lesson from Durham University here in getting aggressive through the water.
Yeah, I agree.
Getting on with this race because they need to. They're going to run out of track.
Yeah, Durham look really gritty here, very determined. Collingwood College just need a little bit more power in there to come back into contention. If they've got any response to make, they need to start making a move now before they run out of water.
So as we can see on this fantastic split screen we have now, we have the second race of the development coxed fours between the B crew from Vesta Rowing Club and Robert Gordon University.
Said so nicely.
Ah, thank you.
So we've got Robert Gordon University just under the trees there, coming past the island. And Vesta B on the near side bank to us, and the commentary box on the Berkshire bank.
That's it. Now this Vesta crew, there's a large contingent from Vesta here at Henley Women's Regatta. This is this and their Roman mates going for Henley Royal will be the top event from this year, the thing they'll be targeting to win at. So they'll be looking for a good showing, and it looks like this B crew from Vesta is just starting to get the edge on Robert Gordon University as they go into the booms and settle down onto their rhythm.
Yeah, they're looking very smart there. Nice blade work. Good timing. And both crews looking very confident here, but looking to win to go through to the next round.
That's it. Vesta Cox there, just taking a little trip over to the middle of the river, giving plenty of space for the crew on the oars on stroke side. They're not going anywhere near those booms, but the crew on bow side are probably wondering what is going on. And as I say that, the umpire warns the Vesta Cox to move over and get back on the station. Now, interesting in these bow loader boats, it's not that straightforward to get the message back to the Cox that we're being warned, we need to get over. So the bow person needs to be on their game there, recognise what's happening and tell the coxswain, get over, we're being warned. But the umpire still has his flag up. Vesta need to be aware of this, and they need to get back onto station now. But it looks to me, Sheila, like they're not responding on the steering at the moment.
They're not, no, Vesta's still flat in the middle. They've got about half a boat length lead, but the umpire is shouting at them, got his flag up. I do wonder sometimes, is this a tactic to intimidate the opposition, but it's very risky business, upsetting the umpire, who's now got his flag down and seems quite satisfied that have moved over far enough in the lanes to not impede.
So you see Richard
Robert
Phelps,
Gordon,
Richard
yeah.
Phelps there umpiring, a stalwart of Thames Rowing Club and the Tideway in general. Very, very experienced umpire, giving a very solid, loud warning to Vesta there to get them to move over, and which they did, but not by a huge amount. They're still sitting slightly off their station.
Yeah, Robert Gordon are being quite well pressed into the booms there, but Robert Gordon are coming back. They're creeping back up on Vesta, stroke by stroke here. So then they're not. It's not over yet, and they're not out of contention. So we've still got a good race to see.
Absolutely. When the umpire's warning you like that, it can get very disturbing. You can get distracted from the flags and the shouting and your name you don't want to be hearing. So with these development fours, they need to just be confident, not worry too much, eyes in the boat, back on the game plan, and not react too much to what's happening outside of the boat.
Yeah, just focus on what you're doing as a crew. This is not a boat that works with individuals. All the crews, all the people in the boat have to work together. It does look like Robert Gordon have pulled back somewhat there. Vesta still in the lead, but only by about a quarter of a boat length.
Absolutely, looking like a cracking race here in the development Cox Fours between Vesta Rowing Club B and Robert Gordon University, coming towards the Remenham Farm. They've gone through the enclosures, going down along the trailer park now, heading towards Remenham. It looks like Vesta with a slight burst there just to eke it out. You can see the Cox of Robert Gordon looking over, giving the distances back to her crew. They know they're still in this. There's still time if they can jump on the rate now.
So as we watch those last few stages of that race unfold, we also now get to have a look at the next development Cox Fours race between Exeter University on the Berkshire station and Lee Rowing Club A crew on the Buckinghamshire station.
Yeah, Lee Rowing Club with their very distinctive yellow kit, and Exeter on the near side bank to us in the green and white stripes lycra in the yellow boat. Doesn't look like there's much in it between these two crews as they just clear the island and go into the booms.
That's it. A slightly easier job for the umpire on this round of the development Cox Fours, which is great to see. And looking back at the race before, we can see Vesta now taking control and seem to be heading towards the finish line for the victory here. Not quite over, but certainly in control of that race. But as we look at the race behind them, between Exeter University and Lee, certainly much closer as they approach the commentary booth here.
Yeah, and they also look like they're staying in their part of the water as well, which is good to see, not upsetting the umpires. Good to hear some support from down below. Lee Rowing Club on the Bucks Bank on the far side in the orange, just slightly being overtaken by Exeter Rowing Club, who've put on a bit of a push here and have taken maybe quarter of a boat length's lead now.
That's it, both crews looking like they're in their rhythm there, both racing hard but looking fairly controlled at this stage. It'll be interesting to see as the pain increases, as the lungs start to burn, who's been put those miles in the winter so they can maintain that fitness and endurance all the way through to the finish line. But at the moment, not much to call between these two crews.
There's not, no, they've got to keep their focus as they go through.
Now we'll look to see what view we get on the camera here as they move away from the commentary booth, but it seems to me from here that Lee Rowing Club may have just started to edge through. Hard to tell from where we are.
It is. If only we had control over the drone.
If only.
That would be so much
Send that drone up.
Get the drone going again.
But actually great to see from these development fours that both crews are sat in their rhythm. Neither crew panicking. Doesn't look like either Cox is panicking either, which is great to see. And we'll see now as we start moving down the race. You want to see that rate coming up, but also crucially that technique hanging together. And yeah, it looks like Lee just edging out in front of the University of Exeter now. And
the Coxes constantly talking to the crews, letting them know what's going on, but more importantly, telling them what moves they're going to make, what pushes they're going to put on, what little pieces that they've been practicing over the winter and the spring. And definitely looks like Lee have taken the lead from Exeter as they've gone past us. They're just heading past the enclosures at this point. with Lee in the lead by about half a boat length.
Absolutely. It's such a tricky position to be in when you've had your nose in front and your opposition crew just starts to come through, get level and then edge in front. It's really tough to keep that discipline in the boat, not worry about looking sideways. But the important way that you can get back on track is to move together. So the coxes in these boats need to be on their game, need to sniff when the moment is right to push on, and certainly in that Exeter University boat, the cox in there needs to wait for the right moment, gather the troops and then make that last dash for the line. But certainly at the moment, Lee, a decent length of stroke there and looking really in control and on their rhythm.
So as we just watched that race in the top right hand conclude, we get to look down to another development Cox 4, the last of this batch. Race between Thames Rowing Club nearest to you on the Berkshire station against Tideway Scholars School nearest Temple Island on the Buckinghamshire station.
Yeah, we can see the crews, lots of quick strokes to get the boat going. Might look a little bit scrappy, but they know what they're doing. And as they come past the island, they'll settle down. You'll see nice tidy strokes from the crew as they hit their stroke rate for the race. And the cox will have his race strategy in mind and be controlling what the crew is doing, whilst keeping an eye out for what the opposition is doing as well.
That's it. Great to see a local Tideway derby here between Tideway Scholars and Thames Rowing Club. Arguably two of the best women's club programmes on the Tideway at the moment. And they'll be taking this personally. They'll want to get in front. They'll have to see each other training on the Tideway after this event, so they'll be wanting to make their mark. But at the moment, it's the crew from Tideway Scholars that have eked out to that just about length lead as we move towards the quarter-mile marker there. But looking back at the race ahead, further down the track, it's Lee Rowing Club making the most of that lead they had over Exeter University as they come towards the finish line there.
Yeah, looking very cool and composed still, Lee Rowing Club. Very calm, and there they go, winding down.
Great stuff. Controlled win from Lee there. Great to see as we look back down the course with a great overhead shot from the drone there. You can see Tideway Scholars just moving out to a little bit of clear water now, just sniffing that they can break away from this Thames crew, get that length or two's advantage, and then maybe just start sneaking over, send some puddles down, remind them who's in charge. Certainly that Tideway Scholars boat looking very tidy here.
They are good. Some good blade work, good movement of the crew. Nice and smoothly up the slide and then pushing away with the legs, using that power in the legs, keeping the knees down. And they're just coming past us now. Tideway Scholars, a good boat length of clear water between them and Thames Rowing Club, who are still pushing to try and catch up.
Absolutely. It's a brave person to bet against Thames. We know about their pedigree, their history, the training programs that will be in place there. You know these girls are going to have the fitness to last for the full distance. So really now it's again about that cox and giving them the information, keeping them hanging together so they can get back on terms with this Tideway Scholars boat. But I have to say to you, this Scholars boat really has taken control of the event.
They have shot away into the lead. They're looking like they're going to be quite hard to catch and beat here as they move into this slightly wider lanes there, looking very strong and very tidy. They look like they know what they're doing. They've got this. They're just going to manage it to the end now.
Absolutely. Definitely one of the faster looking development falls we've seen coming down the course today. And they will, in a couple of minutes time, I think they'll be flicking down a gear, taking control, and we'll have one eye on the next race tomorrow. But certainly at the moment, Tideway Scholars in control of this race against Thames Rowing Club.
These camera angles can be quite deceptive sometimes, but I think there's still, definitely some clear water between the two crews.
There's someone listening to you.
I would hope somebody is, yeah.
Yeah, great stuff. Great stuff from Tideway Scholars. You can see they've just come down a pip on the rate there now. They know it's their race now.
Yeah, maintaining that lead and that distance, and I'm sure they'll keep an eye on that. And even though they've brought their stroke rate down, they're still keeping the power in the legs and the power in the stroke. Very efficient way of rowing, and hopefully keep some energy in the tank for the next lot of races that they've got throughout the weekend.
That's it. They'll be wary of this Thames crew. They won't back off completely now. They'll keep the power going down. You see the straws there they've got on the front stay of the boat there, just making sure they're all rowing at the same length. Great little tool to have on the boats to ensure you've got that cohesion of the power drive and the power curve, and that just helps you send the boat in a straight line ultimately.
As long as they're environmentally friendly.
Of course, yeah, paper straws only, absolutely.
Paper straws, yeah.
That flash of red and yellow at the start can only mean one thing, and that's a double from Tidal Race Scullers School as we begin our chunk of the aspirational double sculls race, this time, as I said, between Tidal Race Scullers School and Wallingford Rowing Club on the Buckinghamshire station.
Yeah, we'll see a few Tidal Race Scullers coaches flying up and down the bank on their bikes.
They've got a busy weekend.
Absolutely.
So many crews.
And we can see as these doubles now coming towards the end of the island, a look from the Wallingford steers person there in the bow seat, just making sure we're not too close to those booms.
Yeah.
Keep it away. It's game over once you're onto those booms.
Yeah, so no coxes in these boats, so you'll see the bow person glancing around, trying to keep them on track. It is a tricky job with these boats, and they're very easy to push off track, either by the wind or just by the rowers themselves. So constant vigilance, making sure that they're not too near the booms or too near the other crews.
Absolutely. So we'll flick back to the race before, where Tidal Race Scullers are in control against Thames Rowing Club. Over the line there, comfortable victory for Tidal Race Scullers, and they'll move through to the next round.
Well, they'll be happy with that, and in the double sculls we've got Tideway slightly in the lead over Wallingford at the moment as they approach the commentary box.
That's it, that Tidal Race Scullers crew with a really solid rhythm actually. Nice long strokes there, looking reasonably comfortable. The Wallingford crew slightly racier, I would say, trying to get back on terms, but even at this stage, say the Scullers crew looking in control.
They are just looking very relaxed and comfortable and look like they're enjoying this race, taking it seriously, of course, but taking it all in their stride. They look like they're in control, and it's all to do now for Wallingford to try and catch them and overhaul them.
That's it, Scullers just want to be careful on that steering there, slightly off the line, and coming back over before they get warned by the umpire. Always much easier to correct the steering yourself rather than having to react to what the umpire is saying. And they're comfortably back onto their station now. Having said this, we're seeing it again, Judy. This crew not quite breaking away to close the race off.
No, and I'm just wondering, is that a tactic? Do they feel that confident that they don't feel the need to increase their lead? But it's a dangerous place to be because the other crew are still in touch with them. So Wallingford's still got a chance there.
Absolutely. And of course, on the course here, we're racing into the stream, so it elongates the race slightly, meaning that if you are behind, there's just a little bit more time to do something about it and get back into the race. But at the moment, that Scullers crew looking very calm and composed. Hopefully they've got a few more gears to go if they need to, but at the moment they look certainly like they're in charge of this race.
So, as we finish off that race between Tidal Race Scullers School and Wallingford Rowing Club, we look back up to the start, where the third of these aspirational double sculls are beginning to take place, this time between Henley Rowing Club and a composite between Leicester Rowing Club and Shiplake College.
So that's an interesting combination, Leicester and Shiplake College.
Wouldn't have expected that on the draw.
I always wonder how these come together, but good to see it. Good to see it.
And Henley Rowing Club, it's always slightly difficult to know who's going to be in these composites, but on paper at least, Henley Rowing Club would be the favoured crew here. They've had an incredible season, winning medals at almost every event they've entered. Any Henley residents that pick up copies of the Henley Standard will see that the back pages are adorned with Henley Rowing Club
you
juniors.
Included.
Me included, yeah. We'll see Henley Rowing Club juniors winning medals week after week. So on paper, on that alone, you would expect them to be in the lead, but I'm sure I've given the commentator's curse. As I flick down, you can see them losing.
Shiplake might have something to say about that. So, in fact, Leicester and Shiplake look like they are ahead in the bottom half of our screen at the moment. You can see the Shiplake colours, those horizontal stripes in Leicester in that composite crew. Henley in the blue and white. You can't see them on screen at the moment. Look like they were slightly behind, quite a bit behind actually. I'd say a good boat length. They're just coming up to the commentary box now. We'll get a better view in a moment, or the drone might kick in.
So I'll go back to what I said. You never know who's in these composite boats.
Hedge in your bets.
Absolutely. As Leicester and Shiplake look to eke out the lead, a real comfortable lead now over Henley Rowing Club. Through a little bit of wash that's been kicked off from the pleasure boats going by, but they're looking absolutely in control now.
They are. So I always wonder with these composite crews how much have they rowed together in preparation for these races, because they look like that's quite a good pairing there, very tidy.
Absolutely, no doubt we'll find out after this race where they've come from. I'm sure they've spent some time in a boat together previously.
They need to tell us.
Looking at the way they're rowing together there, and up to that must be 4 or 5 lengths now over the crew from Henley.
Yeah, Henley moving into the centre of the stream now, so slightly out of their lane. Umpires keeping a very close eye on them, but they're not helping themselves by moving to the middle of the stream. They'll be against that current, which won't actually be helping them too much. So keeping focus on what they're doing and rowing their race is the thing for Henley at the moment.
That's it. As we can see, that Tideway Scullers crew from the race previously comes through for the win, and it looks like at some point they're going to be racing the crew from Leicester and Shiplake, who are now looking very composed. They know this race is theirs for the win now.
Great discipline that you can see there, just the focus and concentration. Rowing is one of those sports that uses all the major muscle groups in the body, but the mental strength and the mental focus is something that a good rower always needs to build as well. And these two do look like they've got that in spades.
Absolutely. Also length of the stroke there, real decent length out there, making every bit of that leg drive work for them. So they're accelerating the boat all the way, and they're not checking it at any point through the stroke. And as a result, they are a comfortable distance ahead of the crew from Henley Rowing Club.
They make it look so easy. It's not though.
It's not, absolutely not. Now this crew will certainly have one eye on tomorrow now already. They'll be thinking about the warm down paddle, the rest and relaxation tonight before coming back and doing it all again tomorrow. And I think based on this performance, the composite crew from Leicester and Shiplake is bound to be one of the fancied crews.
Yeah, they're looking very, very tidy, very relaxed, nice, easy stroke, but a very comfortable lead that they've got at the moment, nothing to worry about.
Such a nice feeling when you're up in a lead like that. You know you can look up, you know you can relax, you know it's in the bag, and that's what you spend all of those winter miles training for.
So as we see that race just come to its conclusion, we can look to our penultimate heat of the day, which is another aspirational double sculls, held this time between Nottingham Rowing Club and a composite between York University and York City Rowing Club.
Now that composite makes a bit more sense to me. York City Rowing University.
Definitely does. Definitely more logic.
I can see how that came about. Okay, so as they're coming towards the end of the island, looks like Nottingham have got the slight advantage over York University, although I'm heading over towards the middle of the stream there. Very difficult with these camera angles sometimes.
Absolutely, and that great to see that composite from York, both University and York City Boathouse, based not that far from each other. Up there in York, obviously, and at the moment the crew from Nottingham, from the banks of the Trent, just seem to be edging in front of them. And I suspect both of these crews will have raced each other in the races through this season, as obviously the drive between Nottingham and York is not that far. But at the moment it looks like Nottingham are using that experience to eke out into the lead.
Yeah, and we've got the York composite crew hugging the booms on the Bucks Bank, giving a lot of space to Nottingham to choose how they want to use their bit of water. They're coming away from the booms now.
We can see on the race previously, a comfortable win there for the composite crew from Leicester and Shiplake College, and more to come on that, how that composite has come about, as we find out.
We need to know.
We need to find out from that. But as we see the race on the course at the moment, Nottingham Rowing Club again just eked out the lead, but again they haven't broken away as yet.
I know, they're going to duke it out to the end, I think, these two crews. Very well matched, looking very comfortable, nice tidy rowing there.
That's it. And the crew from University of York and York City are their peripheries. They'll know that Nottingham are just there. They'll know that this race is still on. Both crews, if anything, the crew rowing from York, slightly racier, slightly more aggressive on the catch. Hopefully they can maintain that for this next third of the race.
Yeah, I think they're trying to put a bit of pressure now on Nottingham. You run out of race so quickly, it's really difficult to decide when you're going to make your push, when you're going to make that sprint and try and overhaul the opposition. And you've got to hope that they haven't gone too early.
That's it. Stroke seat from Nottingham Rowing Club, looking very controlled there, steely-eyed. As we say that, they're the York and City and University of York aggressive rate is just taking them into the lead. Now the question is, Sheila, can they maintain this?
Well, I think the other crew's responding. It's looking so tight. This is going to be a very hard-fought race. So they're coming past the enclosures now, being watched very carefully by the people on the bank, their supporters. It's really hard to call who's going to take this one.
That's it. Even from our position here down at the barrier, we can hear the cheers coming from the enclosures. And at this point in the race, when you're level after 700-800 metres, the trick is not to panic. Keep eyes in the boat, stick to the race plan, and then wait for the sprint to come. But at the moment, it's the Nottingham crew, I would say, just slightly more composed than the crew from York.
Yeah, they're just easing ahead, but I think both crews need to have something left in the tank as they come to the finish line, so they can put on a sprint finish. But you know, having been neck and neck all the way up the course, it's going to hurt you if you come second in this race, isn't it?
That's it, yeah. Neither crew wants that.
Nope.
They want to make sure they're progressing on to the next round of racing tomorrow, and that's what they'll be gunning for now as they come towards the halfway point through the enclosures and on towards Remington Farm. It's looking like difficult to see from here, but that Nottingham crew looking composed still. But as you can see, the flashes there of York just in the same shot. This race is definitely not over.
No, nice and smooth over there. There we can see York City, York University crew still going strong, looking very aggressive still.
Yeah, great to see York maintaining that rate. And I think that's actually seen them through this Nottingham boat as we speak. They are moving through them and away. Bit of wash from both crews to hit there. But the crew from York maintaining that aggressive rhythm, which has really taken them through. Hopefully they can keep that up now all the way to the line. Slight mistiming of the stroke there from York. They gather themselves back on pace and go again.
Looking a bit scrappy at times. Must be getting tired, but still they are gunning for it. They really want this.
That's it. You see a quick look from the bow seat of Nottingham there, just trying to judge the distance, and again making sure that they haven't lost touch, which they haven't.
So as we watch the penultimate race wrap up, we can announce the final race and heat of today's Day at Henley Women's Regatta. The final of the aspirational double sculls is held between Northampton Rowing Club and another composite between Aberdeen University and Robert Gordon University.
Okay, just clearing the end of the island, and both crews look to have had a good start, looking nice and tidy now as they clear the island and go into the booms. Looks like the composite crew of Aberdeen and Robert Gordon are in the lead from Northampton. Let's see how this plays out.
So whilst we have a few moments, I can bring you the results of the development coxed fours that we saw a few moments ago. So in the first race between Durham University and Collingwood College, Durham University took the win. A similar story for the same station. The next race where Vesta Rowing Club B crew beat Robert Gordon University. After that we had Lee Rowing Club come out on top of Exeter University, and finally Tideway Scholars School beat Thames Rowing Club in the last of the heat of the development coxed fours.
And we can see there, just saw in the camera shot there, the crew from York managed to hold that aggressive rate all the way into the line and take the win from Nottingham Rowing Club, who had been leading at the start of the race.
Both crews looked absolutely drained of energy. They both put everything they had into the race, so whatever the result, they can be pleased with their performance. On the course now, we've got Aberdeen and Robert Gordon composite crew taking quite a lead now from Northampton.
Absolutely, as they come past us here, it's the crew from Scotland, well in control. Again, looking nice and aggressive through that straight right there. And we see Northampton come past us. They've got it all to do now. They come past the barrier, coming towards the enclosures.
So I'm just wondering, composite crews is the way to go.
Seems to be so far, definitely. Seems to
They're
be
not
working.
doing too badly.
But the Northampton crew drifting off station slightly there. But that won't worry the umpire too much, as the crew from Aberdeen and Robert Gordon look to be in control. And that'd be a great matchup if they end up drawing the crew from Leicester and Shiplake College.
We're loving the composite crews,
Absolutely.
aren't we? Yeah, we like that at the moment.
Yes.
But yeah, Aberdeen, Robert Gordon taking lots of clear water there between them and Northampton. Northampton still going strong, but it's going to look, it's going to be quite hard for them to pull this back at this stage. They're just entering the enclosures. if they've got anything left in the bank, this is where they need to put their push on, or they're going to run out of water before the end of this race.
That's it. That crew from Scotland now, they've got enough of a lead that they can just move over to the middle of the river, send the puddles down. It'll take a Herculean effort now from Northampton to get back into the race. Still doable. It's been done before. It can be done again. But at the moment, it's the crew from Aberdeen University and Robert Gordon University well in control as they move to the end of the enclosures.
It is, and this side-by-side racing that we see at Henley, it's so unique and so enjoyable. You're so close to the crews as they're racing. You can pretty much hear them breathe as they go past. So very exciting rowing over the next couple of days for us to look forward to.
Absolutely. As we see on the course here now, we've got the crews warming up now for the time trials taking place after the last race here between Northampton and Aberdeen University Robert Gordon, which will be the J16 Coxless Quads and the J16 Coxed Fours. So great to see the girls out here getting ready for that event and seeing if they can qualify for racing tomorrow.
There's another shot there of Aberdeen Robert Gordon crew still going strong, urging each other on. You can see the bow lady there just mouthing some instructions to the stroke, but they're keeping up the pressure there, rowing a really good race.
That's it. Should just be talking about maintaining exactly what they're doing. Nothing needs to change.
Yeah.
They're doing the job.
And it's working.
Absolutely. They're moving away to a comfortable lead now.
They are.
So as we just watched the conclusion of this, the final heat of the aspirational double sculls, we can bring in the results of the earlier heats of this event. So in the first heat, with Tideway Scholars School against Wallingford Rowing Club, Tideway Scholars took the win. After that, Leicester Rowing Club and Shiplake College took the win over Henley Rowing Club, followed in a similar event by York University and York City Composite taking the lead over Nottingham. And as we just wait for the results of this final race, we'll see how the composites are working out for the crews today.
Well, it's looking like composites the way to go, as Aberdeen University and Robert Gordon University very controlled up to the finish line in their first round.
Just relaxing into those last few strokes with some perfect execution there, still keeping their style and their posture, but they've pulled so far ahead of Northampton that I think there's very little chance that they're going to get caught at this stage.
That's it, and they'll be happy with that. They'll be happy with the draw. The draw's so important in these events. You want to get easily through the first round or two just to give you something later on in the legs at the end of the weekend. As we see there the crew from Aberdeen and Robert Gordon taking the win. They'll be able to go home, relax now, and prepare for tomorrow.
So that's all of the side-by-side racing for today at Henley Women's Regatta. The final result there was that Aberdeen University and Robert Gordon University beat Northampton University in the last heat of the aspirational double sculls.
Great performance.
Be sure to tune in tomorrow where there'll be more side-by-side racing as well as the time trials first thing in the morning, and ensure you keep up to date with all the updates on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter.